Can your friends do this? Do 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 do. Can your friends do that? Do 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 do. Can your friends do this? Do 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 do. And in a hat. Can your friends go to a freestyle footwork like this, Al? The Super Nintendo era is filled with a plethora of amazing titles that are well received, even to this day. And with every major movie and popular TV show, a video game adaptation was likely to follow, and everybody who was anybody tossed their hat into the pile of games based off of their medium. There were good ones, a few bad ones, a good number of really bad ones, but it was the 90s. A lot of information we got were printed in your local magazine, or if you were lucky, a VHS tape explaining in grand detail what their brand new game is about. It was an interesting time to live through, where everything is explained 90s style, though I am not gonna lie, that music is an absolute bop.
After you've escaped your enemies in the marketplace and been freed from the palace dungeon, search the perilous Cave of Wonders for the magical lamp. Look out! The cave is turning to lava.
Well, yeah, have you heard this beat? Sometimes you just had to rely on your parents to roll the bones, and hope to God that Blockbuster or your parents knew exactly what to get you. Disney was already down with dropping another video game adaptation for their next big feature film. There were Disney games, but then there were Disney games made by Capcom.
Oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
Disney's Aladdin for the SNES is a platformer published and developed by Capcom. You know, the company known for memorable and critically acclaimed titles like Mega Man X, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Street Fighter, Breath of Fire, Final Fight, the list goes on. Disney made it clear that this company's development team were the right people for the job. Shinji Mikami, if you're not familiar with that name, he's the man responsible for Resident Evil. The man behind the workings of a Disney game would soon pave the path for future horror game titles. It's honestly jaw-dropping. Even the soundtracks based on the popular musical numbers and tunes from Aladdin were rearranged and composed by the same minds that worked on Mega Man X. So you'd hear a friend like me, but instead it sounds like... So, with that knowledge in mind, what makes Aladdin so special? There's an animated visual recreated in forms of animated sprites, but the opening is the only exception. Like what most movie games often have, cutscenes show a series of slideshows and exposition that are covering key moments from the film. If any of that isn't new or in any case relevant to you, they're very skippable, so no worries there. And there's Aladdin. Hey buddy, the guards have a little bit of personality through their attacks. They see you, they charge. If they hit you with a barrel, they laugh at you. And if they miss, they get frustrated. I love that. It's little details, but appreciate the little things, you know? Aladdin comes loaded with a set of apples you can use to stun enemies and dispatch the smaller ones. And they come a dime a dozen, so you really don't have to worry about running out. Believe me, anyone who says that apples can't be an effective weapon has clearly not been hit by one. While they're completely optional to use, they complement the biggest strength of Aladdin by far. The platforming. Of course you can run and jump on enemies, but you can also run to give yourself more momentum to clear jumps, pull yourself up from almost any ledge, swing and use your momentum to make it up the higher platforms, swing and dispatch of enemies, vault on enemies and across a variety of obstacles, sometimes in succession, and a nifty tarp, which you can use to glide safely towards ledges and reach gems that can't be obtained with just a simple jump. Platforming feels responsive and safe, and can often save you from making huge mistakes that would normally cost you a life or two. Even when you get a hit, you don't get launched back like 30 feet, and can immediately recover if you happen to be in a tough spot. Also, it urges you to try different takes on how to tackle a level. Take level 2 for example. You could be patient and ride out the logs. It's slower, but it ensures you'll get to your destination. That's fine and dandy, but you can also do this. Yeah, that's like an 8 out of 10, right? And the red gems and golden scarabs plastered along the stages can be worthy skill checks to see how well you know your fundamentals. And aside the slideshows, there's some cool little interactions and stages that mimic the key points from the film. It's honestly cool. Sometimes there's little distractions in the background as well. As for the difficulty itself, that's where the strengths of the game begin to sort of backfire. You'll see what I mean. Collecting red gems is optional, so if you were to tackle each stage with that in mind, Next thing you know, you'll be in the following stage in no time. If you know exactly how to maneuver through every level, you'll find yourself dying a lot less. Plus, sometimes you can find yourself tough guy situations since health upgrades are pretty generous, and extra lives can be just within reach after an unfortunate death. I can imagine that it's hard to have to stick to as much as the film's canon as possible, but there's only 3 bosses and 7 levels to tackle. And by 3 bosses, 1 angry shopkeeper and Jafar. Twice, so 2 bosses if you want to get technical. Unless you face the most difficult boss in the game. Wait, that's it? This game is short. So in terms of variety, there's not much to expect aside the occasional bonus rounds and the carpet ride levels, at least one of them. So here's a fundamental example of a difficulty spike. The escape from the Cave of Wonders first phase is the most heated in terms of action, but the next level that follows is the most frustrating shit I've ever had to deal with. A lot of your reaction time is reduced since you're forced to stay near the forefront of the screen for nearly the entire duration of the level. Yeah, everything behind you is pretty much unsafe, meaning that your reaction needs to be tight, because if you collide with anything once at any given time, yeah, you can tell the folks at Virgin Studios whispered in Capcom Zero on this one. But now that's over. The Genie level is peak Aladdin. It's only fair that the best character also has to have the best set of levels. It oozes Genie's personality and is visually stunning, even with Genie's big dumb grin plastered all over everything. I think what I generally love the most is that parts of the levels interact with you when you climb on the platforms. Even when you die, he just looks sad that you died during his musical number. Genie's positive energy is all over the stage and makes for some of the most entertaining and creative levels on a visual standpoint. But after a magical carpet ride and a few sand and snake themed levels, you come to face Jafar himself. However, he is not aware of the wrath he's about to face. Hey, Jafar! Oh my god, the apples didn't work. Okay, I just want to start off by saying I'm very, very sorry. Well, he's not really that hard. Jafar does a lightning strike staff move that's conveniently used against him, and to make matters worse for himself, swings his entire body into you for free damage. The only real threat he poses is the lightning strikes he summons after every successful hit on him. Every attack he does basically leaves an open opportunity to hit him. Otherwise, he does the same series of moves until he eventually goes down from head trauma. Even his snake form is not much to deal with since all of his attacks have very reactable patterns. And it doesn't help with the fact that you're suddenly in bullet time due to the game slowing down. He sinks his body into the lava, you jump and float until he decides to launch game lagging eggs at you, or throw out a reactable lunge where he's stuck in place. Yeah, Jafar's kinda lame. Real big missed opportunity for Aladdin to use his sword like he did in the film. Yeah, it would've switched things up to better align with the climax. Unfortunately, the final boss is pretty underwhelming, but at least that itch is scratched in the Sega Genesis version. Yeah, through all of it. To sum it all up, Aladdin has a few issues. Sometimes you die, and sometimes you lose a few credits. So aside that one level, there's no real urgency. You'll have 10 hearts, several credits, ledge grabbing, and 100 apples. And if you somehow manage to lose every last bit of it and game over, well, just try again. Aladdin is not a hard game, but it never aimed to be. It's accessible to everyone and it's fun. I think that's the only thing that truly matters at the end of the day. If you ever happen to have a free afternoon or happen to be in that whimsical Disney spirit, I think you should give this game a shot. Though I bet you're wondering, what exactly do you get from collecting every single red gem? You guessed it, you get grammar errors. You are a super player. So thanks for playing.
Now get out!
What?
Get out!
If you ever think of any inaccuracies to Aladdin, just remember that he had a sword through the entire game in the Genesis version. Aladdin was down for murder in that version. That alone might make it be the better game.